What's worthwhile? Healing mind, body, and spirit. I'm Ramsey Zimmerman. I choose peace of mind, vitality of body, and joy of spirit over stress, exhaustion, or overwhelm. Together, let's explore and pursue the many ways to build holistic health and wellness.
My hope is that we inspire, that we kind of light a fire under people, and we further inspire those that are ready. We want to be a source of inspiration for those, but also those that may have never been in the fitness world and they're scared. And Chad and I, we're very open, and we want that to come across in our training. And that's how we approach developing relationships, and that it is more than fitness. We want to be community trainers that people respect, that they feel comfortable with, and that they know they're going to get results.
Hey there, it's Ramsey here. That was Jill Weishart. She and her husband, Chad Weishart, own and operate Treetop Fitness out of their home in Union, Washington. Chad and Jill are terrific hosts and focus on providing a great experience for their clients. They provide both virtual and in-person small group fitness training sessions. More than anything else, Jill and Chad seek to inspire and motivate their clients. Chad was in the military, has a background in education, and worked with special needs children. Jill has interest in weight training, advising clients on the use of cannabis to enhance training, and finding other new and interesting ways to expand their offerings. When I got in touch with Jill, she insisted that I come visit and see their place for myself. Now I know why. It is stunning. We sat out on their back porch to make this recording, and I enjoyed every minute of conversation, birds chirping, Amazon deliveries, and barking dogs. I think you will too. Let's get started. Jill and Chad, thank you so much for having me out here today. How are you guys doing today?
Oh, great.
Pretty darn fabulous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have to say, this place is absolutely gorgeous. Like, we're sitting here, I feel like I'm sitting in a tree house. But since we're recording audio, can you sort of describe the scene for me? Like, what are we looking at over the balcony here?
Sure, yeah. Our house kind of faces a little bit more north, but overseeing the Hood Canal, the southern end of the Hood Canal here in Washington State. If you look to the right side, it's going to be a little bit more east of us, and you can see all the way down to Belfair. From our vantage point, and then to the left, when the clouds aren't there, which they are right now, so then the mountains are out, as they like to say.
Yeah.
And you can see the entire Olympic mountain range right there. So yeah, it's a pretty good vantage point. Yeah, happy to be here.
Cool.
Here in Union, Washington. That's our town.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, this is this is my first on-location recording for What's Worthwhile, so it's definitely a milestone. Happy to be up here. You guys invited me to come out and see your place, Treetop Fitness. You have a gym downstairs, right?
We do.
How has that been set up? And why and how did you decide to set up a workout facility down in your garage?
I would say first and foremost is our passion to help others. Chad and I have spent our lives involved in health and fitness in some capacity. It's kind of a staple of our personality, and we've always had a goal of having some sort of place, a space that we could share our passion with the community. And when I say community, I mean both in-person community, but also virtual. And that's what started the actual kind of bringing this to fruition. Is with us gym rats, COVID was kind of hard.
Yeah.
It hit. We weren't able to go to the gym, and we're kind of in a beautiful location, but not a lot of accessibility to go out and get a run, or, no accessibility to, it was very difficult for gym rats. So we decided to start accruing equipment here and there. And we ended up turning our upstairs dining room into kind of a little modified gym, little facility. We were training clients here and there. and realized we kind of wanted to take this to the next level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so last year, we decided to completely transform our two-door garage downstairs into a fitness studio. And it's been a long process. A lot of a sweat has gone into it, a lot of passion. But it's been also a great bonding experience for Chad and I, kind of making this a reality. And with every step of the process, we're checking off the closer that we got and the more exciting it's been.
Yeah, that's super. So you mentioned that health and fitness is a passion of yours. Like, I know you guys both have kind of day jobs at the state, but you decided to do this as well. Like, what are some of those passions?
Yeah, I think in our area, there really isn't anything else kind of like this, and it wasn't until around COVID we started accumulating so many different various types of gym equipment. And with our space, it was just it started with a vision, just a very, hypothetical, like, what if we, someday had like a little gym downstairs in the garage where people came over and we had little classes and, had a great time and turned into this big thing or whatever. That would be so much fun, And, of course, the universe can hear you start to manifest things, and they eventually it starts to happen, right? So eventually we just decided to run with it and start with this LLC name, and then get some people over here just on our own, small time, just very small short classes, one-on-one lessons. And eventually we kind of decided, we were like, the upstairs area isn't really going to be enough for what we're looking for. We just need to completely renovate our garage and just go ham salad on it someday. So eventually, we didn't do it immediately. Jill and I are foster parents, so we do have a lot going on in our lives. But eventually we did find a way to pull the trigger and start renovating. And, ever since then, we've just been kind of ham salad on the whole thing. Ham salad.
Ham salad.
Ham salad.
I don't know why.
Is that a
ham
favorite
salad
of yours?
Not at all. No, not even close. Not at all. No. Oh boy. Yeah.
Well, and it's not just about, getting in a good workout, right? In terms of what you're trying to accomplish and what people are accomplishing. Because even in the little bit that we've spoken so far, I know that you guys are also sort of minded around bigger things than that in terms of health and, making changes in people's lives and, things like that. Do you have?
Yes.
Like, what do you hope for people? When they are, coming out here and you're getting to know them as clients and they're working out, or as they're working out with you online, what do you hope for your clients?
My hope is that we inspire, that we kind of light a fire under people, and we further inspire those that are ready, perhaps into the fit lifestyle, or they dabble in it here and there. We want to be a source of inspiration for those, but also those that may have never been in the fitness world and they're scared. And Chad and I, we're very open people. We're very genuine and authentic, and we want that to come across in our training. And that's how we approach developing relationships, and that it is more than fitness. It's really wanting to be a community we want to be community trainers that people respect, that they feel comfortable with, and that they know they're going to get results.
Yeah. Do you feel like training, especially if you haven't done it or haven't done it for a while, it's kind of intimidating, right? To really get back into it. And, I think a lot of people are just generally in life today are kind of stressed out and they're just exhausted in general and trying to balance so many things. How do you see and getting in a good training regimen? How do you see how it helps those things?
Well, I think that's the beauty of a movement in the virtual side of fitness that we want to create. We want to create a mechanism for everyone that virtually has an internet connection to have access to a quality workout that's affordable. And that, at the end of the day, is what we want. And the virtual aspect is going to allow folks that may not feel comfortable going to a gym or may not want to work out around other people, but in their home environment, they are comfortable. And so we would love to be able to kind of ignite this interest in fitness in folks with the ability to be more comfortable, because fitness is a very personal thing. Everyone's in a different stage of change and readiness. And Chad and I are here to address folks and engage with and build relationships with people in all stages. We want to help bring you along, answer questions, be some motivation. Even if you're not in our studio, we want people to reach out and get to know us. And
do you need a lot of stuff to get started? I mean, what if people don't have a whole training gym set up in their own house?
No, that's a fantastic question. And I would say a somewhat modest investment. I would say $100 max in a couple of key things that you could have. And you could have amazing workouts for the entirety of the month. Chad and I are going to be very creative in our virtual space. And you can do a lot with a pair of dumbbells or a barbell. Or a medicine ball or some basic, pieces of equipment. But in general, for those that don't have anything and they're starting from scratch, I would say anticipate about $100. And you want to get an exercise mat so you have something comfortable to lay on when you're lifting weights and stretching and foam rolling and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, a foam roller is another helpful thing. And then I would say 3 sets of dumbbells. Aim for a light, a medium, and a heavy pair of dumbbells that you can toggle between. A lot of our virtual sessions do use multiple dumbbells in a given set. So it's good to be able to have at least a couple of sets of dumbbells accessible during a virtual session. And I would say some sort of like elastic, or I'd say booty band, because there's a lot of ways we can engage the lower body, the quads, the abductors, the adductors.
Uninitiated.
Yes.
Uninitiated. What is a booty band?
So it's basically what'd you say, a nylon?
It's a giant rubber band.
But a giant rubber band. They're thicker, maybe like 6 inches thick, and you put them around your lower body, and it's a way to engage different muscles. You're applying resistance, and it's a great glute activator. So that's another staple thing that I would recommend. So the exercise mat, 3 pairs of dumbbells, a foam roller, and a booty band. I think folks could really see some results after some time.
So if you're kind of, on your own at home, trying to do exercises, I would think that would be difficult to stay motivated. And interacting with you guys, I think would really help. But Chad, what do you think are some of the ways that, when you're working with clients or talking to people, how do you get them into the sort of the right mindset and motivate them to, get through not just that workout, but to sort of also be motivated for, the next one after that?
That's a great question. I think everybody that comes in here is a little bit different, mindset and where they are with everything. And of course, when we meet people, we're generally not in a large group setting the first time we meet with them. We want to know who you are first and what your goals are, and talk to you about your goals, your fitness, what your nutrition goals are, and everything. So when they do come in here, they shouldn't feel too afraid when they approach us or come to join one of our classes. So, but when I'm teaching a class, I think something kicks in just from the different courses that I've taken or the classes that I've taken over the years at various facilities, and I think maybe a little bit of the leadership skills that I've acquired from just being in the Marines. I was in the Marines for just a very brief time in my life, but I really admired the leadership that I witnessed there, and some of the skills. And I'm not that maybe that sounds a little too intimidating, and it shouldn't be though, because I'm not going to yell at my customers or yell at you guys or anything like that. It's more kind of like my mental stability and awareness and mind over matter, and just sticking to the basics, my muscle connection. And if you want to look like an athlete, you need to train like one, and just really jumping in there and learning the basics and allowing me to help you do that, so you don't have to do any of the thinking, essentially. Right. So during the class though, I think a lot of times I'll use the timer, and I'll count down with where we are. And a lot of people think when they're coming to our class that maybe they're not going to be able to keep up. Well, that's not true. It really doesn't matter what level you are when you come to a class. You could be completely advanced or not advanced at all and still be doing every single thing that I do along the way. You can choose to pick up a 5-pound dumbbell instead of a 35, whatever I'm demonstrating at the time. And there's always a modification of some kind that can be made. So
Amazon.
I think our Amazon dogs are barking back there, but yeah, just different things like that. And I think that helps keep people motivated in the moment. They know that they're not going to fall behind or look bad or anything if they don't want to, if they can't do it a certain way. Yeah. Certainly everybody, especially with people with different disabilities. I get a lot of people in here that may have a shoulder issue, or we find that doing squats a certain way or lifting a dumbbell a certain way is not going to behoove them, that for what could happen. We want to stay away from that kind of stuff. So I think a big difference that really sets us apart from the competitor is that one-on-one, and that when you first come, so that we can kind of establish who you are and really design what you're going to do based off where you are in life. And everybody is different, so
yeah. That's the beauty of the smaller classes, because we can fit 4 and 5 comfortably. And so while it's not a traditional one-on-one, it's still the very close environment does allow engagement. And then there's 2 of us. So you don't just get one trainer at Treetop Fitness, you get 2, which is pretty awesome. And it's fun. It's really fun to train with your husband.
Yeah, well, you guys are just, really real. And, here we are, we're hanging out. We got dogs barking in the background. I think it's like Amazon.
Oh yeah, you can always expect Amazon to show up when you really don't want them to, right? I don't know.
No, but we're kind of up here in the woods, but what else is around here? Like, what are you close to?
Oh gosh, Union is such an amazing town. We've got the Alderbrook Resort and Spa, which is like a world-class place, and they're dog friendly. So we bring our dogs all the time to go walk around there. The staff is amazing. There's some great food options around here. We've got a Mexican restaurant, and yeah, there's places, a lot of trails to go on. Oh, bald eagles that fly. I believe that's a bald eagle.
Yeah. And I'm based in Olympia. It was like 45 minutes or something from Olympia. So, and it's a beautiful drive.
It really is.
101.
Unless there's an accident, you shouldn't have any traffic, right? There shouldn't be any traffic.
Well, once you make it around Olympia, coming in this direction, then traffic is usually pretty good, as opposed to heading out I-5 in the other direction. Yeah. So the dogs understand sign language. Is that what-
I
Not so
really,
much.
I'm really hoping they'll get my sign language. I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So from a bigger picture and like moving forward in time and like looking out at the future, like
Yes.
where would you guys like to see your efforts go? You know, how do you see like expanding into new things? Do you see what kind of sort of bigger impacts would you like to make?
Well, one of the things that we're kind of interested in exploring are kind of a little bit more of the niche areas where people may need assistance. Jill and I both have different backgrounds that can help people in different ways. For our in-person courses, I have a skill set with both the military and also working with people with special needs. I was in the military for a brief amount of time. I was, military police. I worked with the dogs. So I worked a lot of training with dogs and behavior modification
That's
that
when you
way.
learn the sign language with the dogs.
Oh, you got it. Yeah,
It worked with them though, not the Chihuahuas.
Yeah, but you were signing in German, right? Is that how that works?
Or maybe bad English. I don't know. But yeah, no. But then after that, I started working more with special needs kids, and also, well, when I got out of the service, I kind of fell back on my degree and was going to be a special ed teacher. I was right in the middle of doing my special ed.
Master's program.
Right, master's program, but the student teaching when I met Jill, actually. And it was then when I decided that I didn't want to be a special ed teacher, actually. We had these people that would come in and work with the kids one-on-one called behavior therapists. And, that's what I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to work one-on-one and, not have all these distractions and really try to work on behavior modifications with each individual student, so got to change my major and moved kind of around the same time up here. I became a registered behavior technician here in the Washington State area for a while. I was working with youth ages on a lot of different kids with different disabilities. Usually, mostly kids that are on the spectrum and other various disabilities, but I got to learn a lot about them and how to help them and how to work with them and help them, work on the different disabilities or disadvantages, I should say, that they face on a day-to-day basis. And good behaviors, problem behaviors, mostly problem behaviors we were working on. So anyways, I guess what I'm wrapping this up, the whole thing that we're really trying to do here is I would like to work more with kids with special needs and offer a kind of program where they can get out of the house and get motivated, get moving. And I think there's a huge need for that. When I was working with these kids, I don't think I ever ran into any kind of physical therapist that worked more with just kids with special needs. That maybe their parents could come and drop them off for a little while, and they get motivated, they get moving. We have them lifting weights, we have them doing some different things, but we, within limits. And of course, there's always an expectation. Well, everyone's going to be different. We'll set that with the parent or the guardian, or so to offer them a real specific experience to help them. What could really benefit them in the home and for their own independent living expansion and learning how to develop on their own. So, and then the other part of that is, I guess, my military background and hopefully training and working with kids to maybe train and get ready for the military. Yeah, I would really like to do that. I'd like to do that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that's great. Both of those, all of those that you described are really big needs today. You've got lots of people on the spectrum, and you've also got lots of kids that need to boost their fitness in order to qualify for the service. How about you?
Yeah. Are you going to go?
Yep.
Okay. He's going to go address the dog situation. And I would love to talk about the fact that I am a repository of ideas. I've got ideas upon ideas.
Your ideas have ideas.
I want to bring light to this beautiful part of our country. I want to showcase the beauty. I want to bring people out into the community, and it's all about health and fitness. And at the end of the day, I embrace a holistic approach, and fitness is more than just pumping iron. It is way more than pumping iron. And so my dream is to be able to offer a whole diverse portfolio of different opportunities, both virtual, in person, both direct fitness related, or perhaps an educational session that people can join on a lunch break. I want to explore like little mini sessions during lunch break. Come join me for a 30-minute shoulder pump, 12:15 to 12:45. You know, how many people from home could just knock out a quick 30-minute pump, you know? And I'm going to charge $5. I want to keep it very affordable. Very, you know, I don't think it devalues what we bring to the table. It brings people to the table, and that's our goal. This isn't about money to us. That's one benefit or factor. That is not our mission. I would say our mission is to elevate humanity in a very holistic approach. And so I want to be able to offer sessions like yoga and meditation. I want to have things like a Sunday brunch, like a training and a brunch opportunity. Bring in a local chef, you know, pay a little bit more, have a really awesome workout, and then come up and have a local prepared brunch post-workout. You know, I want to get a boat one day and be able to offer weight training sessions or yoga on a boat out in the canal. I want to do, you know, maybe coffee and conversation discussions in the future where we just, you know, sip coffee and talk about health and fitness in the community that we build. And at the end of the day, it's about building that relationship and knowing that people can trust us in many ways than one.
Yeah. It sounds to me like you're just getting started. And, you know, you've got a beautiful place here. You're a destination all to yourself. And I just noticed your socks. What do you have on your socks there?
Oh, I have some cannabis leaves on my socks. Some pot leaves. Yes, multicolored socks.
And what role does the cannabis have?
Yes, we haven't really been promoting on social media at this point, but it is definitely one of the things about our approach to health and fitness is incorporating cannabis into certain sessions. There are a lot of benefits on cannabis and weightlifting. And we want to be able to legally and responsibly offer this as a way to enhance the experience. So one of the benefits of incorporating cannabis with fitness and weightlifting is it really does enhance the focus and encourage that mind-muscle connection. In order to have amazingly effective workouts, your mind has to be in every repetition, every set, to really get effectiveness out of the workouts. And cannabis helps facilitate that process. Another big benefit is it helps with an increase in enjoyment and motivation. You know, who wouldn't want to have a puff or two and get an amazing workout, I think. And certainly here in Washington where it's legal, and we talk to others that enjoy cannabis, there's actually quite a demand out there on your, not a demand, but there's quite a, what would you call it? A movement, I would say. There is a movement for folks that are hiking or going on a tough mountain climb or cycling that they do consume cannabis before, and they talk about how it helps increase the enjoyment, and it helps with pain relief, helps reduce inflammation that could be caused by breaking down muscle fibers in the muscle tissue. A lot of times folks might have a little bit of anxiety with fitness. Perhaps going to a gym might be a little anxiety inducing, and so cannabis does help with that. It helps reduce some of the anxiety associated with that. It's also helpful. Part of a big part of fitness is recovering and the whole muscle recovery process. And cannabis helps with that aspect. And then also, I would say another amazing benefit of it is it helps to increase pain tolerance for intense training. So for me personally, if I am weightlifting after consuming cannabis, I can typically lift heavier weights. I can perform more repetitions and more sets. I feel like I have more endurance. It's more enjoyable. And so
Is there a danger of more injury if you aren't feeling it as much? I mean, like if you sort of dulled your pain, are you more likely to get an injury that way?
There's definitely considerations, the impaired coordination and an overall reaction time. That's why when we approach it, we talk about the individual tolerance. So you always start with a smaller dosage and then increase accordingly. Right now, we are just doing cannabis sessions virtually. The way the law is written in Washington State, we're not able to consume cannabis in public. And because Treetop Fitness is considered a public space, we're not able to do it, but virtually we can. And so that facilitates a little bit more of a safer environment.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing
So
when
it's BYOC.
Yep, at that point.
Right now, anyways, maybe the laws will change and things can work to that benefit. But we encourage everybody, especially to consume in their own homes. And this is a way that you can maybe be with your own kind. If you're a pot smoker and enjoy it. And there's not really a lot of social events for people that like to consume cannabis, especially maybe ones that like to consume before they do some kind of physical activity. So it is a little bit of a niche outlet that I think when people kind of catch on, they can certainly enjoy it.
Yeah, so we've actually done a little bit of strategic and targeted advertising. We have our main flyer for kind of the overall fitness brand, but we do have a cannabis one, and we've been reaching out to the licensed cannabis shops and facilities here in Washington and developing relationships. And so that's and until the law changes, we can't unfortunately do it in person within the studio itself.
And we do. I should say, I think since we're on the air with this, that we do understand that cannabis isn't for everyone, and we certainly encourage people that are interested in this, have a little bit of the experience to know that that's something that they're okay with pursuing. A lot of times, some certain kinds of cannabis is not the best for anxiety, and certain kinds of cannabis are better for anxiety, right? So,
more consideration.
Yeah, and we do kind of can go over that with our customers if they need us to, and we will.
Yeah, like you said, this is a very niche thing that we are making sure we are doing it legally, responsibly, because it's something we believe in. It is a part of our mission and our overall mission, but we want to make sure we do it the right way. And so that's in every aspect of what we're doing, because it's not worth jeopardizing. We have so much to offer the world, and our passion is big, and we don't want to jeopardize it. So,
yeah.
And +1 to everything he said.
And they should know it's not the biggest portion of everything we do. It's a very, very small portion of what we do. We don't advertise for this out in the general public and the social medias. The most we do, we have a flyer that goes out to the pot shops. So if somebody's interested, they can call us and then we can talk about how the classes work and everything. But we don't have too much of that online. We want to be very careful about who we're advertising to and around, because we understand a lot of people have, their opinions on cannabis. So we want to stay,
we want to be respectful,
fair to everyone. And if they don't want anything to do with it, that's totally fine. We want them to be able to experience Treetop Fitness without any cannabis whatsoever. They don't, and we're okay with that. So that should be known, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, just again, thanks for the invitation. Really great to come out here and meet you guys. And you have just a gorgeous, beautiful spot. And I really appreciate how you are setting up and creating both a physical venue where you can share all the splendors of the Pacific Northwest, including the cannabis, and also creating a nice virtual space where people can join you from wherever that they happen to be. And, so much of what we need to do today, I think just in general, like as people, is to get a hold of our stress and find better and more productive ways to sort of deal with that, and get more exercise and eat healthy, and work it in so that it becomes part of our lives and part of our routines. And I just love the way that you guys are finding ways to sort of get it in there, piece by piece, as opportunities both to come out here and spend some nice time, as well as just finding, however many minutes you got to join you virtually.
Yeah.
For sure, man.
Is there anything else that you want to touch on while we're together?
This has just been a really tremendous opportunity for us. While the fitness and health coach and, inspiration and motivation provider kind of characteristics aren't new, the business aspect is new. And so, just ask for grace about Chad and, for Chad and I navigating through this process, because our heart's in it. And what we want is, it's a evolution, and it's the rest of our lives, and things are happening very organically, and the universe is allowing this path. We don't feel rushed. We both do work full time. And so it allows us to be very methodical and very sensitive to all of the nuances of this. And like I said, fitness is very personal. It's not going maybe to a new restaurant or something. It's a very personal thing. And being trainers, you develop personal relationships with people. So it takes time. So we're not in a rush. We are not pushy trainers at all. We're here and we're not going anywhere. If anything, we're going to be more.
Speaking of here, where can people find you online? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, our website's treetopfitness.com. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and almost a TikTok going live pretty soon. So we're working with our amazing friend. His name is Rajay Murray. And shout out to him. He has been a tremendous friend and partner. He does our social media right now. And so helping us just kind of establish a presence out there. And without him, we wouldn't be able to do that. We certainly stand by our passion and what we can bring to folks. But having his infusion has been really, it's been pretty fantastic. So a lot more to come. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again.
Yeah. Thanks, Ramsey.
For sure.
Where to go from here? Visit what'sworthwhile.net to learn more about me, Ramsey Zimmerman, and please reach out to me and let me know what you think. I don't want this podcast to be some message in a bottle thrown out to sea. I want to hear back from you. Please send me a message or an email or hit me up on X, LinkedIn, or Instagram. And please leave a rating and review for the What's Worthwhile podcast on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, or Amazon. Thanks.